Holy cannoli, guys. Is Musk buying Intel? And what's been going on with Intel stock for the past couple of years? We are going to get into all that, what's transpired in the last few days, what the rumors are going around about the Intel possible acquisition. First, please like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Here's an article on Yahoo Finance to give us a little backstory on what's going on with the possible buyout. It says stock in Intel rose 9.25% on Friday following reports another industry giant could buy the chip maker. Petal, a semiconductor analyst, said multiple indicators had converged at Mar-a-Lago, jet movements linking Qualcomm and Global Foundries, among others, including Elon Musk. There were rumors swirling about the future of the company following Intel CEO Paul Gelsinger's resignation this week.
Wow.
So what do we have going on here? We've got three big players meeting up together down at Mar-a-Lago. Elon Musk, Qualcomm, who's a chip maker, and Global Foundries, who's a chip maker. So basically what we're talking about here is Intel CEO Paul Gelsinger had kind of a 4-year plan going on. He was hired as the CEO back in 2021, and he had a massive plan to kind of get Intel back on track. They were losing market share to NVIDIA and the likes of others. So their plan was to invest tons of money and build like a mass contract producing facility. Basically, Intel's plan was they would become the contract chip maker for other companies like Microsoft or Apple or stuff like that. But in the last 4 years, they've just been tanking cash into building and hiring employees. And then in 2022, of course, they had to start laying off a lot of employees. So the whole kind of crash of 2022, the inflation, everything was really working against them. And at this point, they just really haven't showed any promise of Gelsinger's plan to come to fruition. So they pretty much told him to retire or get fired, and he retired. Hey guys. What's up? Dogs. Say hi to everyone. See? Can you see? We are looking at the all-time chart, at least on Robinhood, for Intel, and as you can see, it's not a pretty chart, especially for such a company like Intel that's been a major player for so long. They've been around since the 60s. However, in the past 20 years, they just haven't done so well. They haven't been able to kind of keep up and push themselves, which it has in the end really hurt them. As you can see back here in 2000, we got up to a high of $75 a share, and we've never seen those heights again. I mean, back in 2020, we got up to about 64 and almost got up there, but ever since, we've been just on the decline. And, Gelsinger showed up and he had a big plan, and it just has not worked out the way he thought it would. So let's look at the fundamentals. Looking at Intel's revenue, we can see here just on a quarterly basis, since 2010, we've pretty much just been stagnant for the last 15 years. We haven't seen much raising in the trailing 12 months. Of course, we had some here, but basically since 2012, we haven't seen any revenue climbing. It's basically went up and then it's come back down. Let's check out net income. Net income has just been awful. They've been using a lot of cash to grow, the business, to open up these big production plants, hire more of a workforce, and it's just been awful for their net income. As we can see, I mean, this quarter here was just horrendous, which in turn is why Gelsinger has lost his place. We'll check out financials, balance sheet. Cash on hand, we had a raise here, but basically it's pretty much run sideways for the last 10 to 15 years. Not a whole lot going on there. Not any growth. So total assets, 191 billion, and total liabilities, over 81 billion. You know, not too bad of a liability to asset ratio. Long-term debt is though 46, almost 47 billion. So that's a pretty big debt. But assets to liabilities isn't too bad of a ratio. That's a pretty good ratio. Cash on hand, we've got 25 billion, which, you know, basically covers, you know, just under a third of their total liabilities. It covers, you know, roughly a little over half of their long-term debt. So, okay, balance sheet. The assets and liabilities looks pretty good. I'd give it a B. I'd give it a B on balance sheets. So income statement. So for the last few years, we had 70 billion in 2018. You know, went up just a percent or two to 72 billion. We had about almost a 10% jump there into 2020, almost 78 billion. Small gain up there to 79. But then moving into 2022, we had a pretty significant loss. What's that? Around 20% loss. Yeah, about 20%. And then into 2023, we had another 15% loss in revenue. So that's pretty rough, especially when, you know, we've had this new CEO coming in that's supposed to, you know, turn a lot around. It takes time to do this stuff, but those are some pretty significant drops. And this whole time, we were just seeing market share from this company get eaten up by other companies like NVIDIA. So PE ratio, since we had such a severely unprofitable quarter, we are at a PE of 0. In the past, this thing's traded, you know, mostly under 10. It got up a little bit to around 20, but mostly under 15, under 10. But right now we're just sitting at 0 because the last quarter was so unprofitable. So what do I think about if this is a buy or not? I say definitely not, even though there's a lot of rumors going on about an acquisition, and sometimes, you know, an acquisition can make a stock jump up quite a bit. You're taking a big risk there. Also, shares already jumped about 10% on Friday a few days ago. So, I mean, that might already be getting priced in and so this at this point in time, it's just really a gamble. The fact that Intel has just been losing for the last couple of years, and, you know, sinking cash on hand into endeavors that have not worked out, and our net income is going down and down. Even though it's such a low stock price or share price, I just don't see this as being a valuable investment. There's a lot of other fantastic deals out there. I've talked about a few. My last video was 3 stocks that I'm currently buying that are awesome investments in my opinion, so check those out. Now, take everything I have to say with a grain of salt. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on YouTube. But if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Comment below. I respond to every comment. We go over stocks and kind of go over their fundamentals, whether they're a good value or not, whether they're a good buy. Right now, Intel for me, nowhere close. I'd call it a gamble, if anything. So please like, subscribe, keep up with us, and we will see y'all later.